Here I am at Newcastle Reservoir, Utah, near Enterprise, and it is almost 6 a.m. and still dark. September 2nd or 3rd, early September, and we're getting ready to go. Hope to catch wipers or at least some smallmouth. So, Newcastle Reservoir is recognized for three main sport fish: smallmouth bass, rainbow trout, and hybrid bass, also known as wipers. 6 a.m., air temperature was about 50 degrees. By the time I left at 11, it had climbed to almost 80. Moon was full, barometer steady, water temperature upper 70s. Starting with a lipless crankbait, saw fish chasing minnows on the surface, so I switched to a topwater, was able to catch this decent smallie. Steady retrieve drew no strikes, but a more subtle approach with the WHOPPER PLOPPER got much more attention. I'm used to catching smallmouth back in Missouri, but only from creeks and rivers. I was pleasantly surprised that these smallies fought just as hard. Look at that horizon scenery. It's just gorgeous at sunrise in Newcastle. I normally lip smallies, but since I had a net handy, I decided to use it. Those WHOPPER ploppers have nasty treble hooks on them, and you don't want to get one in your hand. Alright. Other than sunfish, this was my first fish at Newcastle. Solid 13 inches. I'll catch those all day long. That's fun fishing, especially on lighter tackle. See you later, buddy. As the sun climbed over the horizon, the topwater bite began to die off, and I slowly worked my way to the north side of the lake. Smallies became more and more finicky, so I switched back to a lipless crankbait, hoping to get a wiper's attention. The smallies were still active subsurface, though, and it's tough fighting off the hungry little ones. Quite a few little fish.
Fatty, little bitty fatty.
After catching my fill of fat 6 to 8 inch smallmouth, I decided to try my luck at trolling. You can see here how low the water level is against the rocks. It's hard to troll in a kayak. You have to keep a constant eye on your rod tip to look for the vibration of the lure, but it can be done. It's a good way to cover lots of open water where hybrid bass tend to roam. Make sure to keep your drag loose though, because they will pull hard and run fast. Here I had a gulp minnow under a slip bobber just dragging behind me. I hooked several more smallmouth like this as I was casting my crankbait.
Oh, you little stinker.
It's about 9 a.m. and I finally hooked up with a wiper. The wind was blowing from the west along this northern bank, and the bite had actually increased. I could tell immediately that it was a wiper. Those fish are the pit bulls of the lake. You need strong line, medium heavy or medium action rod, and a hand constantly near the drag. Now, this fish was actually a pretty average wiper for the lake. 18 inches, maybe 3 pounds. If I recall, the state record came in at about 14 pounds. Fish like that would take me for a ride in my little kayak. I'm all up for it though. Didn't happen this trip, but I'll be back. Now, as I was fighting the fish, I started digging around for my lip grippers. Wipers have small mouths and lots of spiny fins, not to mention my treble hooks.
came for. Come on. Loosen up the drag here.
He's tiring out, but not giving up yet. And I saw that I really didn't have it hooked very well.
Oh, I don't have it hooked very good.
He keeps spooking. Meanwhile, the treble hook has pinned his mouth shut. My lip gripper is useless, so I eventually decide to try to grab it by the gills. And that's how I boated my first Newcastle wiper. Hopefully more to come in the future. Nice wiper here, about 18 inches, probably 3 pounds. We're gonna let him go. Super fun fish to catch. Hybrid between a striped bass and a white bass. Hence the name wiper. Here I've hooked another smallie on the gulp minnow dragging behind me. This one has a little more size than the others. Not huge, but solid 12 inches.
Oh, about 11. See you later, buddy. Oh, he splashed me.
Sun is climbing higher, and I try my luck at trolling again. This time with more effect. Here's proof you can troll in a kayak and catch fish. This one was a total surprise.
Oh, the topwater.
In Missouri, I caught trout, rainbows, and browns in streams and trout parks, but never in a lake, especially in the heat of late summer. My net was wedged in front of my yak, so I tried to just grab him. But he flipped off.
That was a trout.
I was going to let it go anyway. Who ever heard of catching a rainbow trout trolling a lipless crankbait? Fish on! This time a decent smallmouth. Just as big as the one I caught early in the morning. Strong fish for only being about 14 inches. And that's a fun fight in a kayak. So strong there for a second I thought I might have had a smaller wiper on there.
Oh, big smallmouth. I don't have him hooked very well.
I got my net this time, but he just jumped in my lap. So I pinned him into the boat.
Put him in here. Who needs a net?
Nice
Look
smallie.
at this guy. Nice smallie. Not huge. Maybe not.
Solid 14 incher. That's a nice fish to call it a day on. Time to go home and apologize to the wife.
Okay, I wouldn't say it was an epic day, but it was a good day. A lot of fish, a lot of small fish, but 2 or 3 decent smallmouth. I caught my wiper finally. Nice size, about 18 inches. Fun fight. Trolling and caught a rainbow trout, but I never landed it. I couldn't grab my net, but I was just going to let him go anyway. So that was kind of fun. So good day at Newcastle Reservoir. This is my new favorite lake. So see you later.